Today I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put a half axle into this yoke. I've never done this before. I had no idea what a half axle was before I had to buy one. There was a couple of things I had to buy to do the job. I bought a manual so that I might have some idea of what's going on. I had to get a big enough socket to take off the axle nut. I got the half shaft and I got a couple of 6-ton stands. So let's have a go and see what happens. So the first thing I did was I jacked this up, took off some of the wheel nuts, took off this, took off this, and that gives me access to the axle nut. I'm going to jack up the camper as high as I can, get the jack stands in underneath and give me as much space to work in underneath as I can get. Well, it's up now anyways. I had to start the van to move out of the way, and that should give us enough space to work in underneath it now anyways. Wheel off next. This is what I have to replace. Axle as far as there. I'm guessing that must be the bearing, center bearing. Center bearing support there. Don't know what to do about that yet. And out as far as there into the transmission. Alright, so now that I know what the old one looks like, I'm going to have a look at what came in the box and see if I can figure out how to do this. So I just opened this up and I am delighted to find that there's a bearing here. I was afraid that we might have to go taking off CV boots and things and all, using bearing pullers and all sorts of stuff that I don't have or don't know how to do. So hopefully one will just pop out and the other will pop back in again and we won't have to do anything there. Mighty. In the manual it says remove the axle nut, and there's 2 nuts back here, this nut and this nut. Back up here on the edge of the, remove those 2 nuts, remove the ball joint nut, then you should be able to push this down and out of the way, and this should be able to swing free. So first job, remove this wheel nut. Okay, so the next job is to get this bearing holder off here. I think those two nuts, it says. Open those two nuts. And then turn it down by something. Okay, so I think I have to separate this. What I've done is I've taken out the bolt to the alternator, knocked that back out of the way, and then I'm trying to separate this whole thing that holds the support bearing. Trying to separate that out and pull it out so I can get the whole thing off. Turns out that I didn't need to remove this completely, I think, but it's not letting go of this shaft, so I might have to give it a hit with something. These two screws here and here, they actually are holding the bearing in, and that's what it means. Release them by half a turn in the manual. This is how it sits underneath the camper. So this is going into the gearbox. This is the shaft, it's the inner CV joint, and then there's the rest of the shaft out here. All you need to do to get this out is loosen these two, like the manual actually says. Turn these half a turn so that they're not on the thing, and then this whole thing comes apart. I didn't know that, but I do now. So now that I know what I did wrong, I'm going to put this back on first. Then I'm going to reattach the belts that I took off, the bits and pieces. And then hopefully it'll just be a case of sliding the new shaft into place. So, I'm going to do that now. Now it's just a case of getting everything back on again. Okay, so I have topped up the gearbox oil, attached all of my bolts, I think. Now I'm just going to tighten this axle nut up. I'll have to put the wheel on, put it back down on the ground, tighten the axle nut, put it back up again, put on all of the wheel studs. And hopefully that's it. There's your problem. Overall, not a bad job. The manual had it right. I didn't need to take off that carrier for the bearing. If you don't do that stupid thing like I did, it's maybe a 2-3 hour job. If you're good at mechanics, it's really quick and easy. If you don't have a friggin' notion like me, you have to figure it out as you're going along. I did it over the space of a few days. You can see I'm a bit different to how I was when I started, but I was just leaving it when I got frustrated, if things weren't going my way, just when I was getting hangry, stuff like that. But you can definitely do it quicker, and hopefully by me showing you the wrong way to do it, you won't have to spend that much time underneath your camper. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Just need to drive it, make sure that the wheels don't fall off it, but I think job's a good one.